It's old and outdated, but aging like a fine wine. It's an off-road tank that is built to last. It is none other than the Toyota 4Runner. 2 years ago, Baby Kirk made a video on the next-gen 4Runner. 2 years later, still no 6th-gen 4Runner to be seen. Will it be another 2 years before we see a glimpse of the highly anticipated Toyota 4Runner? And when it does come out, what are we going to see from it? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're excited for the new 4Runner, smash that like button, get that thumbs up for that 4Runner, and make sure you're subscribed because when we do eventually get official news from Toyota, I will share it with you guys first here on the channel. You know I will. And before we get into the upcoming 4Runner, let's talk about some fun facts of the previous generations. The 4Runner was actually preceded by the Toyota Trekker from 1981 to 1983, and it was actually a Toyota pickup truck that was modified by the RV company of Winnebago. The 4Runner is what most of us know this vehicle as, but if you see one in Japan, it's known as the Hilux Surf. The 5th generation 4Runner is left-hand drive only, and that's because they discontinued the Hilux Surf in Japan for the 5th gen. They also have the Land Cruiser Prado over there, so I guess that makes sense. Last fun fact. First gen 4Runner had a turbo 4-cylinder called the 22RTE, and other markets saw turbo diesels as well. We'll talk more about some turbochargers later, but let's talk about the exterior. What are we expected, or what are we hoping the new 4Runner looks like? We're going to start off with my good friend David Chow's render of the new 4Runner. And this will be on the new TNGA platform. It will be shared with the upcoming redesign of the Toyota Prado, which probably will come out before this 4Runner, but we'll talk about availability later. This is, of course, the TRD Pro model here. I love the two-tone paint. If Toyota wants to bring a two-tone setup like this, especially for the TRD Pro models, I would be happy. But yeah, thanks to David at Automotive Press. You can check out his channel. If you're watching this, you probably know because he's like the leading channel when it comes to 4Runner. Radoslav Prokop also teamed up with Hot Cars, and he has these amazing renders of this 4Runner. Now, it looks a little like the 4th gen to me. It's not that radical. It definitely looks more futuristic, but I just don't see this lining up with Toyota's current design language. Maybe the rear tail lights a bit. This looks like the Sequoia, for example. It looks great, but I just don't think it's going to look anything quite like this. And where David Chow is getting a lot of his inspiration from is from the GR Sport Land Cruiser J300 series. We don't really get this in the United States. The closest thing we get is going to be the LX600 with that premium sport package with the smaller wheels and tires. That's the closest thing we have, which is very, very similar, obviously. But yeah, this is, if we start from this, shrink it down, make it a little bit more off-roady looking, I think we have a pretty cool looking TRD Pro 4Runner. Let's hop on the interior of the current 4Runner, and this is where things are going to change radically. Below we have the new Sequoia's interior, and we have, let's just start with the digitalization. All these analog gauges could be replaced. I think the base models will have a 7-inch screen here, kind of like the new Highlander has a base 7-inch screen, and then you can opt for a larger, fully digital 12-inch screen like you see down here. The next major change is going to be the Toyota interface. We will get a big touchscreen. Will it be a 14-inch? Maybe. Could it be a 12-inch? I think that's a possibility as well. Base screen probably be around 8 or 9 inches, and Android Auto, Apple CarPlay will be wireless on this vehicle. You can see that the fan control were knobs in the past. I don't think that's going to be the case here. The only knob we have on the Tundra as well as the Sequoia is just a volume knob. And then the rest are these buttons here, which is fine. I prefer rotary dials for fan control and temperature control as well, but they're kind of cumbersome in terms of taking up space in the interior. And they also just aren't as aesthetically pleasing as all these switches and buttons down here. So I think this is more the route they're going to go, and it looks a little bit more flush with the large touchscreen here. I'd love to see a tuning dial as well. I just haven't seen it at all with the new Toyota interface here. Now down below is your high-low switch on the current 4Runner. I think that will be switched around, no pun intended. It will be kind of on the side of the shifter here where it currently is on the Sequoia and Tundra. Then you have drive mode select, which will be down here. That's something the 4Runner does not have. It's as a drive mode select, so it will definitely be a little bit more modernized with a sport, eco, off-road. You'll have multi-terrain select as well on the higher trims. So there's going to be a lot of updates, especially on the interior of this new 4Runner, and I expect it to look quite a bit like this. Well, they have a panel roof selection. You know, we have a panel roof on the Sequoia. I just don't think we'll see a panel roof on this vehicle. We don't have a panel roof on the J300 series or the Lexus LX. So I don't know. I'm not going to get my hopes up for a panel roof, but they could do it if they want it because they know the 4Runner is largely for the American market, and that is a sought-after accessory here in the United States. Looking at the steering wheels, yes, this thing looks like it's about 10 years old, and we will modernize it, of course, with more safety features, more phone control settings. 2 years ago, I made the case that the 4Runner could be made here in the United States, but today I'll make the case why it will continue to be made at the Tahara plant in Japan. Let's look at the sales. They sell over, I mean, look at 2021 and just this rapid rise in popularization of this boxy body-on-frame capable SUV. 145,000 units essentially in 2021. Where would they be able to build this thing on the F platform in North America? Well, you have three options. You have the San Antonio plant where they build the new Tundra, but that's already a capacity as they also brought the Sequoia there, and that's where the Tacoma used to be built alongside of the Tundra. So I don't see them having the capacity to add 4Runner there. Where do they make the Tacoma? Because the new Tacoma will share a lot with this kind of shrunken down F platform. Well, they make it in the Baja, California plant where they make 166,000 vehicles per year. They also make it at the Guanajuato plant, which is a newer plant, which is about 100,000 vehicles per year. So that's 270,000 vehicles essentially. And if we go to the sales of the Tacoma, United States alone, they're almost selling 270,000 by itself. It's also sold, I believe, in Mexico as well as Canada. So the entire capacity for those plants is already taken up to my knowledge. Could they have some of these secret assembly lines opening up for an additional 150,000 units? I highly doubt it. So I think production will stay in Japan. And Akio Toyota is really dedicated to keeping production in Japan because so much production has left Japan from the other automakers, Honda, Nissan, etc., including Toyota. And that's why they're proud of importing the Crown or exporting the Crown from Japan into the United States, because they want to have essentially a garrison left at the manufacturing plants over in Japan. Now time to talk about powertrains. The 4-liter surely will be replaced, not because Toyota necessarily wants to, but because of emissions, and they need to reduce emissions. That's why the new Highlander got rid of the 3.5-liter V6 in favor of the 2.4-liter turbo. We saw them on the new RX as well. And I think that will also be the trend here. Bye-bye 4-liter V6. We'll miss you. What's at the 1GR? And it replaced by the T24 FTS 2.4-liter turbo. I don't know what kind of tune they're going to do to this, but let's take a conservative. Let's take the specs from the Highlander on 87 fuel, 265 horsepower, and 310 pound-feet of torque. Miles per gallon, who knows? Around 20 if we're lucky on the new 4Runner. But there will be a hybrid variant of it as well. And it will be similar to what we have on the twin-turbo V6 hybrid. I think they will take this electric motor, 48 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, mated to that 10-speed auto. They'll swap it on this 1.4-liter turbo, and we should get over 310 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. These numbers are a little conservative, but we're talking Toyota here, one of the most conservative car companies in the world. Conservative has got them to where they are, the number one automaker. So these powertrains definitely, I can't say definitely because we don't have it from Toyota, but it's like 95% sure these powertrains will come. Rest in peace, V6. Welcome the inline-4 turbo, and also welcome the inline-4 turbo hybrid. And I know a lot of you guys would love a plug-in hybrid. It's just not going to happen anytime soon, maybe 5-6 years after the vehicle debut. So we're talking like 2030. And I think that's a good segue into availability. This vehicle was supposed to be available in 2022, and here we are in late 2022, and we don't even have a sniff. We don't even have a spy shot of a 4Runner. It is MIA, and Toyota is okay. Toyota's okay with this new vehicle taking its time to come out because look, they're producing immense amounts of these vehicles. If we go to the quarterly sales, they don't need to switch over because they're breaking sales records. Why fix something that isn't broken? The only thing that is going to force their hand is probably emissions. So maybe they're trying to delay until more strict emissions come down, and that's when they boom, here's the new 4Runner. That's just a theory. When are we going to see this puppy? I think 2025. If we're saying 2025 calendar year, maybe model year for the new 4Runner, what can we see from Toyota before we get there that can give us a little bit of a picture being painted of the new vehicle? Well, I think the Lexus GX is a front runner here. It should be out by the end of 2023. And maybe the counterpart on the Toyota, which is the Prado, the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. So, and when the new GX and Prado come out, we can revisit this topic and see what we can draw from inspiration from those for the new 4Runner. But also you guys down below, what are your thoughts about my expectations on the powertrain, the design, the interior, etc.? And if you made this far in the video, haven't hit the like button, I would appreciate that. You obviously like the 4Runner if you made it this far, so hit that like button. And guys, subscribe because I will continue to give you Toyota news, Lexus news, auto industry news from Japan as well as Korea. Thank you guys for all your support. Catch you in the next one. Have a great day and peace out.